Hey everybody, and welcome to class. I need you to meet me in your Bible in Exodus chapter 12. That's where we are as we study this really important section of Old Testament history from Exodus through Deuteronomy. We've called it, You Shall Be My People. We're going to be in Exodus 12 as we follow the children of Israel from the land of Egypt to Mount Sinai. Egypt is where they have been for a very long time as slaves. In fact, if your Bible is open there to Exodus 12, you can read with me in verses 40 and 41 that the time that the people of Israel lived in Egypt was 430 years. That's a long time. At the end of 430 years, on that very day, all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. How many people are we talking about? Verse 37 of Exodus 12 tells us about 600,000 men on foot. Besides women and children, we're talking about an enormous group of people, probably a couple of million people who begin journeying from Ramses here in Egypt to Succoth. Do you see that on the map? We're going to make that map available throughout our video, and even after our video, our teachers will be able to pause it and use it with you during Bible class. As the children of Israel make their way from Ramses to Succoth and eventually begin to camp right here at Etham on the edge of the wilderness, Exodus 13 tells us, verses 21 and 22, the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night did not depart from before the people. Can you imagine this pillar? During the day, a giant pillar of cloud. During the night, a giant pillar of fire, leading them everywhere they are to go and not leaving them on their own. Those pillars eventually lead the children of Israel right here to the edge of the Red Sea, right there on the shores of the Red Sea. And so I want you to envision that scene in your mind. In front of the children of Israel is the Red Sea. Behind them is where they've been in Egypt. There's just one wrinkle. Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, has changed his mind. He's gotten his armies together. He is chasing these former slaves with more than 600 chariots. Now what do? You've got a sea in front of you and an angry king and all of his armies behind you. The people look at Moses and they're full of doubt, full of fear. But I want you to listen with me to what Moses says in Exodus 14, verses 13 and 14. Fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent. Exodus 14 tells us about how a strong wind through the night drives the sea back. It makes dry land for Israel to cross through. But when the Egyptians try, the waters return and they cover Pharaoh's chariots and army. Verses 30 and 31 summarize it for us. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day from the hand of the Egyptians, And Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians. So the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses. They even sing a song with Moses and his sister Miriam. You can read it in Exodus chapter 15, the great song of Moses about this awesome God who had saved them. But these same people are going to really struggle to hold on to that fear of God and faith in God and in Moses on the long way from the Red Sea down here to Mount Sinai. We'll talk about it together as a class, but let me just summarize for you. At the end, even of this same chapter where they sang that song about how awesome God is, they start grumbling against Moses about, what are we going to drink? And the Lord miraculously makes bitter water in the wilderness sweet. In Exodus 16, they grumble against Moses and Aaron about, what are we going to eat? And the Lord began providing manna. We'll talk a little bit about that as a class. And quail in the wilderness. In Exodus 17, they quarrel with Moses and ask, is the Lord among us or not? And the Lord makes water flow out of a rock. Toward the end of Exodus 17, they're attacked by the Amalekites, and they are reminded, the Lord is my banner. It's a long way from Egypt to Mount Sinai. But these people, we'll talk together as a class, they have a lot of growing up to do. At this point, I'm going to kick it to your in-person class teacher. We're going to make this map available for the next few seconds in the video. And so I would really encourage our teachers, be ready to pause this video so that you can have the map available as a class to talk about where these various things happened and what we can learn about them. In the meantime, hope I've set you up for good discussion. Have a great rest of your class and a great rest of this week.